filled in for Noah Detwiler at the start of the year, where Detwiler picked up that pre-season injury in Thailand, Argentina and the USA and scored points in all three, and those sorts of performances are what led to Crusez being picked to wear those colours next year alongside Scott Ogden in the CIP Green Power Box. So a nice end of year present, let's say, for Crusez, not in the circumstances at all that he would have wanted to be filling in for anyone, let alone Noah Detwiler. Of course, we continue to send our best wishes to the Swiss rider, but a chance for Crusez to show what he's made of once again, as Kiko says, on a track that he knows, and it's pretty close to home as well. So a special weekend coming up for Crusez, who, as I mentioned, has already scored points on 3 occasions in those colours this season, and he's got a pretty decent chance of doing that again this weekend.
Down across the line and into turn 1. Kara doesn't improve that time around. Kelas does. He made a quick pace of Kelas. That's his 10th lap, and oh, he just had rubbed off. That's a shame. But where was he going there? In turn 1, he was out in the car park. Alvaro Carpe coming to the line. Let's see what he's got. Fourth at the moment. This will move him up surely. Oh, we lost a bit of time in that final sector. The thing here is everybody knows this track. There is a lot of track time in Junior GP right the way throughout the weekend. The European Talent Cup obviously comes here as well in the Junior GP paddock, so really there aren't many riders that don't know which way this track goes. That's why we're able to see riders straight out the crate being very fast indeed. We're having a look. Guido Pini, 12th place at the moment. Another crash last time out for him, but Pini, at least now he's not crashing big. It's front end mistakes, and you can dial that out of riders. You get the feeling of he's been on the podium in European Talent Cup and a winner in his final race in the class here in Valencia. So again, Pini, lots of experience, maybe not in Moto3 terms, but he has definitely got what it takes to make it work for him this weekend, and looking to end his rookie season on a high as well.
Yeah, exactly. Pini took the positives out of Portimao. He said after the race that he felt really good and enjoyed the race, was happy to be back in that front battle, the podium fight as well. But he said maybe braked a bit too hard when he hit the bump and crashed, but yeah, he took the positives, and teammate Casey O'Gorman was right there with him as well. It was a good Sunday for the Liquid Money Dynabolt Intact GP team until Pini crashed on the O'Gorman side of the box. It continued to be a very good Sunday, but you're right, Keegan, Pini will be wanting to end his rookie season on a high. Picked up that podium, of course, over in Indonesia, but hasn't had a top 10 since then. Of course, crashed last time out in Portimao after a really solid weekend. So I think first and foremost for Pini, he'll be wanting to, of course, finish the race, but be in that podium fight again, and you know, if he's got to sniff that top 3, we know that he's going to go for it.
Down in towards turn 2, Carpe's moved up into P2. We have a rookie 1-2 at the moment. We won't be using that term for very long, I don't feel, and I've got to say, we kind of forgot they were rookies a long time ago. They've come straight out fighting, haven't they? Carpe, Kelas, Carpe. Well, going to have his handful next year with Brian Uriarte coming over and maybe stealing a little bit of the limelight away. And here he is, number 51, just wandering down pit lane now. And at the moment, Uriarte down in 18th place, but it's not too much to worry about. Welcome back as well, of course, to Jacob Ralston, back with us this weekend. He's down there in 22nd place at the moment after his right hand injury. So Jacob Ralston looking to try and get back and finish this season on a high. It has been a very injury-hit season, not the way that Ralston would have wanted it to go. And unfortunately, the Australian finds himself out of a ride at the end of this year as well. So the future uncertain for the number 12 too.
Yeah, good to see the Aussie back on board his Red Bull KTM Tech 3 machine for the final round of the season. We know, obviously, he came and kindly spoke to us in the box in Malaysia, didn't he, a day after he'd picked up that injury, and could tell how disappointed he was to, you know, nearly finish the season with an injury, of course, when his future is very uncertain as well. Wrong timing, really, especially with both injuries that we've had this year. Obviously a huge one before the season had even begun, over with a trailing crash in Jerez, which has plagued him ever since, which was very nice to sort of hear from Ralston, to be so candid about his injury. We'll learn a lot of things, but yeah, glad that he can get back on his bike and try and have a good weekend. I don't think expectations are too high. The surgery went well, of course, and the surgeon said at the start of the week that, yeah, all good for me. You can go to Valencia, have the medical test on Thursday, of course, passed it yesterday. So I think just get through Friday and see how Austin's feeling, and then we'll ask the questions on if you can score points, get top 10s, or maybe even challenge for top 6s and more. But yeah, good to see Austin back after pretty small crash, as we said, but sometimes those are the sorts of crashes that could just catch you out in terms of injuries, and unfortunately Malaysia it did for Austin.
Got to say, very impressed of late with Scott Ogden. 3 point scoring rides in 3 with 14s in Australia, but it's the 2 back-to-back top 10s that I'd quite like to wax lyrical about. 7th at Sepang, 8th at Portimao, 7th at the moment in this open. We know he starts Fridays really strong, but Scott really coming on well at the end of this season. It might be a little bit too late, but he's back with that team next year, and really Scoggers looking to try and finish this season with a flourish. Already been his best season. I think it's fair to say we did expect a little bit more, but just as he moves up into the top 5 in FP1 with just over 10 minutes or so remaining, it'll be good to see Scott end the season with the kind of form and pace we know he's capable of, and then try and pick it up straight out the crate in Buriram next year.
Yeah, exactly. Good confidence boosters the last 2 races inside the top 10, back-to-back top 10 for the first time this season. I do agree. I think we, and Scott and the team, were expecting a little bit more. I don't think we were hoping or expecting to say back-to-back top 10 for the first time this season towards the end of the year. But I think he said it over in Portimao as well. That Malaysia ride, when you see what his teammate has been through, to go and produce what he did, Ogden, the piercing eyes of the British rider through turn 4, then he goes to roll corner. Yeah, a good ride. Qualified on the front row, of course, in Portimao. Just struggled in the race. He said it himself, to really push to make overtakes. But he was in that lead group throughout and did manage to get a top 10 and a decent result. And Ogden classes this as his second home race. He does live down here in the Valencia region. Of course, many riders move over from elsewhere to move to Spain. Great training conditions, of course, when you're riding in Junior GP as well. It's important to be in and around this part of the world. So Ogden is, yeah, obviously still considered his home race, the British Grand Prix, but Valencia is his little second home race, so he'll be wanting to end the season on a high and go into a massive year in 2026 for Ogden. Second year on a KTM, second year with the same team, definitely got to raise the level.
Well, I mean, he's got a second home GP, same as in Barcelona. We live up there, but our true home is the home of British Motorsport, so of course British GP back in August next year. Oh, I can't wait to go home. Sit in the sunshine for a week before and after as well. Well, I say sunshine, that is very optimistic, even in August for the UK. But it was a little bit on the nippy side, wasn't it, this year when we went over in May. So, yeah, looking forward to the UK coming back in August. But, yeah, Scott has been over here now for some time. He considers it one of his home GPs. And rightly so, if you live somewhere, then that is your home GP. Kelso just coming down in towards turn 14. He's a tenth and a half up through 3 sectors. He's going to ask for the power now, running right out to the curb and blast it to the line, the number 66. Chasing that first spin victory. We thought it was coming last time out when he qualified on pole position. In the end, he could only manage 7th place. But Joel Kelso does dethrone Max Kelas, and that's the first time to do so in this session, and he's just had his time to up, so he must have exceeded track limits elsewhere around the lap. But Kelso's got a bit of pace, but he always does on Fridays and Saturdays. It's Sundays where the conversion is starting to struggle, and probably annoying him as well. He jumps off KTM machinery very, very soon to get onto the MLab Honda. That MLab team, they've spoken quite candidly, they've got to make a step next year. They know that in the
excited to have him around next year with Vader Pratama. That's for Japan and Indonesia and on the team Asia, of course, in general. It's a very exciting lineup in 2026. But just to cap off the Kelso chat, that front side is faded away in the last half of the race, and once Kelso had lost the lead after that stayed down and finished where he didn't, he led, won the race, but it's been a very good season for Kelso, and he's on another very good.
Not paying the price now though, 39 flat, that'll do. So it's just under half a second quicker than what Max Keeler's able to do. So John Kelso has come out box firing here in Valencia. Formation fine and teamwork, Grid MLab working together. Good to see Eddie O'Shea moving into the top 10. I think it's fair to say we're talking about MLab have really stepped their game up, and they'll be encouraged for John Kelso who moved there, but likewise Eddie O'Shea who stayed there.
So this is the exact point I was going to make as well. A fantastic made, because you can tell from O'Shea's recent results, he's finished in the top 16 in the last 4, scored points in 2 of the last 4, as well as O'Shea. And Morelli, of course, has been absolutely fantastic, let's be honest. He was in that lead group, the rookie, in Portimao for pretty much 3/4 of that Grand Prix. And Morelli finished outside of the top 10. Last time out, the Argentine, of course, moving to Asphalt next year. Really exciting move for Morelli, but agrees. MLab Racing have definitely made a step in the sort of second half of the season, which is great to see. We want to see all the teams as competitive as they can be, and Kelso will have been obviously keeping a close eye on the team and how they're operating in the last few races, and he'll definitely be excited by what's to come in 2026. A big move for Kelso, a bit of a risk, let's say, but when you've not got many options on the grid, then you know you've got to pick and choose wisely, or pick one basically. But I'm really intrigued to see how that one plays out. Honda have also made a decent step in the last few.
Two riders that are in the 38, so GP victory here in some of the most bizarre circumstances. Crashed on someone else's oil from the race lead, and then the race went back a lap. So yeah, Almanza won him by not really winning in the end. Similar to his first Moto3 podium. So poor old David Almanza would quite like the plaudits one day for something he does for the first time. Comes across the line, Hayes 3 off 13th now, and improving all the time. You can see the Junior GP crop are just coming so good lately, aren't they? Carpe to the line. This is another belting lap. A 38.3. Hang on a minute, hold the line. 38.3. A very, very close, under the best race lap from last time around, but we are still around 10th or so off the lap record from Darren Binder. But I'll tell you what, they're going well so far on Friday morning. It is a 5-year-old lap record, it's got to be said. But very, very impressive stuff from Carpe. Kelso's just less than a 10th off. And then, oh, Guido Pini down at 7th off. Oh, that bike, watch your feet. Guido Pini. And somehow leaps into action, keeps it all rolling. And Guido Pini just steps back on it. Watch for the gravel marshals. You're not going to want the gravel rush back there. Pini, well, I tell you what, he dismounts quick, but he remounts quicker. Front end at turn 4, Ralph.
Yeah.
Oh, it was bouncing all the way in as well.
It was he just a little bit wide there as well? It was obviously trail breaking into their turn 4. I mean, talk about turn 2 being a little bit of a hot spot. Turn 4 is absolutely one of the hot spots. First time on the right-hand side of the tyre course for a long time since turn 12. And that will not be the last crash we see at turn 4 this weekend. He's straight back up on his machine. He's had a decent session in P7, a nice little slow-mo. Alvaro Carpe would have seen a little bit of that, but Carpe, of course, hanging over the right-hand side of his machine. So yeah, Pini got back up straight away. Yeah, not the ideal end to the session, of course, for the Italian, but very easily done, of course. We've seen the time tumble. Obviously, riders towards the end of the session getting quicker, getting more confident. Pini just overstepping the mark there on the brakes.
Yeah, I've got to say, time stumbling and also riders. We've had Cormac Buchanan, now we've had Guido Pini. Pini, I tell you what, if that was an illustration of anything, it was just how tall he is. He is enormous. He's a proper lanky old number 94, I've got to say. We've spoken about this at some length, but you've got to say that next year in Leopard, it's probably going to be his last in Vero 3. It's like a giraffe sitting on a greyhound, really. Poor old Guido Pini, not going to have much more growing room on a Moto3 bike. Coming to the line, Valentin Peroni's in fourth place at the moment. This is going to improve his time, is it? He does, but it doesn't improve his place. He stays there in P4, but he's still in the 38th. Adrian Fernandez, who's 5th, and his best time is also now in the 38.972. This should be a good enough lap for him. We've taken him through the third sector. Luca Lanetta has just moved up into 10th place. As we come towards the checkered flag on the opening session in Moto3 in terms of the entirety of the Moto Valencia GP weekend. Fernandez all the way on the left-hand side of the tyre, trail breaking into turn 14, run it out to the curb, and then it is just pull the pin to the line, and let's see where Fernandez is going to go here. He's already 5th, he's already in the 38. He goes 3rd and improves his time to a 38.669. So good stuff all the way until the end for Adrian Fernandez. Kilos has taken the flag as well. So Alvaro Carpe looks like he may well have just done enough with that 38.357, faster than the 2023 best race lap record. Carpe coming out, firing on all 4 cylinders on Friday morning.
Yeah, it certainly is good to see from the rookie, who is level on points now. Sorry, he's 2 points ahead of Joel Kelso in the chase to finish P4 overall. David Munoz is on 197, obviously not here. We switched to get well soon, of course. Not able to qualify for that top 2 battle, unfortunately, in the last few races. But yeah, an intriguing battle between Carpe and Kelso to see who finishes 4 and 5 if they can overtake Munoz. So good weekend to start the weekend, sorry, I should say, for Carpe. And it's good to see Peroni back towards the front as well. It's been quite a few races for the number 73, hasn't it? But good that he's back in that top 5. A rider I do miss seeing at the front. He's not had a terrible time of things, let's say, but just faded slightly in the last few races. Obviously, he crashed last time out as well, so fingers crossed Peroni can be back in that podium fight this weekend.
Yeah, a little bit of inconsistency, just one top 10 finish in the last 4 for Peroni. A couple of crashes, never really got going in Australia at all, did he? So Valentin Peroni, we know what he's capable of, and probably been part of one of the best Moto3 races of the year back in Hungary. We will have an extensive conversation about that in FP2 coming up on Saturday morning. Of course, that session practically means nothing. We'll have practice coming up later, which sorts out your top 14 and goes to Q2. And everyone else going via Q1. But Carpe leads, Kelso a solid job in 2nd place as so often we see on a Friday morning. Kelso very, very strong. And Adrian Fernandez, the top Honda, in 3rd.
Yeah, quite one then for Asato, a back-to-back podium finish up for the first time in his career, and we've got a nice little Honda battle between Fernandez and Furasato to see if he takes top Honda honours in 2025, so another little battle to keep our eyes on. Fernandez at the start of the weekend, here he is on the 31, has a slight upper hand, but as we know, Furasato builds himself nicely into the weekend. We can chat about Furasato a little bit more this afternoon. Podium finish last time out, of course. Just looking down the order to see any of the riders who just had a little bit of slow getaway. Vitelli, you can say, Denise 4.9 seconds off, but of course we saw him crash, so maybe just teething issues on that KTM for the Malaysian rider, but plenty of names we're used to seeing at the front in FP1.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think there's any major outliers. Ogden and KJ Gorman, 7th and 8th. Great job by the Brit, great job by the Irishman. Very solid stuff indeed. Guido Pini there after his crash down in 9th. Vanessa came good right to the end to go P10. But that is all from Moto3. Let's have a look at the full results. I've already said Carpe has done it right there. 17 laps, he set his fastest on the 15th. And although Carpe is racing as close as he gets to home all year, Carpe on top, ahead of Calso, and then it's Fernandez and Kelas Peroni there in 5th. Good job done by Ruche Moodley. He moves through into 13th place, just 1 spot behind Angel Piqueras. Adrian Cruz's back with us this weekend, just ahead of Jesus Rios. Eddie O'Shea was briefly in the top 10, finishes 17th. And we go all the way down. Jacob Wilson, Cormac Buchanan after his big crash over at turn 6, and Hakeem Danish wrapping up the order in 26th. Finally changed, and we are about to fly out of the comms box. Myself, Hugo Charles, and Ellie York are out of here. Lewis Sotheby, Neil Morrison moving in. That means Moto2. Enjoy.
Good morning everybody, welcome to Valencia. We have missed this place. Of course, after the tragic events of 12 months ago, the close was really did hammer this part of Spain. We dearly miss our annual